Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Paxton. Today is August 1st, 2025. We are beginning doing FTH 202 Week 4 assignment for Module number 4. And it has 4 parts to this deal. Part 1, we'll get a baseline trigger pull measurement for the revolver we received in the course. Part 2, we'll be working with the following component assemblies: the frame, side plate, cylinder stop, the hand, hammer, and double action sear. And then we'll complete 12 different steps where we will do a various process of taking it apart, putting layout dye fluid on it, running it through a cycle of operations to determine whether the high spots and low spots are, and then polishing those spots out. Part 4, we will then disassemble the firearm. We will reassemble it. While doing so, we will replace the trigger return spring and mainspring in the revolver using the aftermarket spring kit that we received for the course. We will do a dry function check and then obtain a new trigger pull measurement and share the results with our instructor. For part 4, we will demonstrate the proper method of using headspace gauges to measure headspace in the revolver platform. We were provided with a set chambered in 357, which you can use 357 in a 38 special, but not the reverse, because the 38 special shell is a little bit longer than the 357 and a higher chamber pressure. So we'll go ahead and pause this video at this time and get started on that process and resume with the next step in the video. Okay, now that we've returned, we have done a detailed strip of the firearm. We'll go ahead and show you the pieces as they're taken apart on it. You have your pistol grip, the roll pin that attaches that to the frame, and these are the side plate screws with the detent pin and spring for the one that attaches to this part through the frame. And you see your plunger right here with the plunger spring, and this is also the spring that puts tension against the hand in the back of the trigger. You then have the mainspring, the trigger return spring, the frame, the side plate, the transfer bar, the trigger, the cylinder stop, the hand, and the hammer. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pause the video here. We'll apply the layout fluid, give it time to dry a little bit so that it doesn't just wear off by touching it. And then we will reassemble the firearm, run it through a few cycles. Probably I'll go through probably 10 or 15 just to make sure that I have enough to get the lines showing where the high and low spots are. And then we will go ahead and do the polishing procedure excuse me, so that you can then see the difference between the original trigger pull, which in double action was 11 pounds and in single action was 7 pounds even. Pretty heavy, but with the work we're going to do, that should reduce the trigger pull weight, and putting the reduced power spring set in there at the last step should ultimately lower that to where it's about a 8 or 9 pound trigger pull in double action and somewhere between 4 and 6 in single action. So we'll go ahead and pause the video right here and we will resume with the next step. We have now done our polishing of our parts that we had, that we could see high and low spots on. The ones that I did were the trigger, and you can see on the sides here where the surface here, where the sear part meets the hammer, there were some high and low spots on there that needed to be polished out. Same with the hammer. Basically all these little raised edges all the way around, and the portion down here where the sear engages the trigger. Same on the other side. And then the hand on the inside, you can see where there was a few high and low spots where it was actively engaging parts, like where it's sticking through the frame here, and this part here where it's rubbing the side of the trigger itself. So those needed to be done. And then the cylinder stop the hook portion that protrudes up through the frame, that goes up and down in there, and if that's hanging up in any way, it's gonna kind of have an effect that could retard the system just a slight bit. So we went ahead and polished those, and now we're gonna pause the video, we'll reassemble it, and we'll do another, let's see, I think they said a function check. Yes, we're going to reassemble the firearm, do a dry function check, and see how the trigger feels now that we have polished all of these parts, and we'll see if there's an improvement. So we'll go ahead and pause that video right now, and we will come back to give you the information on that part. Okay, now we're going to do our trigger pull. We have our Lyman gauge here, which is set at 0. So we're going to go ahead and do our double action pull. But before that, we'll go ahead and make sure and show you the firearm is indeed clear. There's nothing in it, nothing in the chamber. I'll go ahead and do this again. Alright. And our break right at 11 pounds. So it really hasn't changed in double action. Let's try single. Reset the gauge to 0. And we'll go ahead and do our pull on that one. 6 pounds. So it did improve by 1 pound on the single action pull. So the next step from there is to I believe step 4, or no, part 3. We're going to take it apart again. We're going to put the reduced power kit in it, and then we will come back and show you a new trigger pull to determine whether that had any improvement on it. So we'll go ahead and pause the video right here and resume with the next step. Okay, now we are returning for our last part of part 3 and then the final part for part 4. We're going to go ahead and open the firearm again, show clear, nothing in it, it's fully reassembled. We're going to go ahead and do our trigger pull with the reduced power spring set installed. We will start with our double action. That breaks at a whopping 8 pounds. So let's see, 3 pound difference. That's pretty good. Now we will try single action. Hammer cocked, and the trigger gauge is installed. We'll give it a pull. 3 1/2 pounds. Woo! That is a lot lighter than it was before. That one was right at 7 pounds, so that's a 4 pound reduction in just the trigger, and so 3 pounds in the double action. So the combination of the polish job and the reduced power spring set, wow, that is a dramatic improvement over what this firearm started out with: an 11 pound double action and a 7 pound single. So now we will go ahead and retrieve our go no go gauges from our drawer here, handy dandy drawer, and we will open those up from their container. We have the 357 Magnum no-go gauge. You can clearly see it says no-go on the side. And then this is the 357 Magnum go gauge. You can see where it says go on the side. We will first we'll open the cylinder, drop our piece on the floor. We will take our no-go gauge, we will insert it into one of the chambers and attempt to close the firearm. It will not allow us to close because the gauge protrudes too far outward. It will not cycle, it will not roll around. So now we'll remove that one. We'll insert the go gauge, and that one will allow us to go, because you see it is in line with the chamber right now. If it was not in specs, that would be loose or not fit at all. We'll go ahead and remove that. And that is how you use your go no go gauges. That shows you where they line up, whether the chamber is properly sized, and whether the gap between the back of the cylinder and the face of the wall here are within specs. Because if it's within specs, that go gauge is tight like it is, but it does allow it to go. If the no-go gauge is in there and it allows it to go around, then it is way loose. That is pretty much all we have for that. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time with Oklahoma Gone Ballistic.